what we plan to share with you, basically, with regards to digital lifestyle initiatives, where I'm coming from the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, or the MCMC, we can see that basically the whole world has gone digital, and so is our lifestyle. As simple as we can see that we have digital cameras, digital phones, tablets. So our PM, the goal for Digital Malaysia is to ramp up the contribution of high-value, knowledge-driven initiatives from the current 12.5% of GNI to about 17%, or over 294 billion ringgit Malaysia by 2020. On this 294 billion ringgit Malaysia target, 75 billion will be from the digital transformation initiatives, 93 billion from the existing information communications technology initiatives, and also 126 billion is expected to be garnered from the ICT initiatives in the ETP and also GTP. The digital lifestyle initiatives is underpinned by a number of focus areas across 5 dimensions, which is economic, social, governance, technology, and also environment, in which new and existing initiatives in the digital lifestyle initiatives will enhance the GTP and ETP, supporting the creation of a cohesive and also holistic approach to achieve a truly innovative digital economy and also the digital nation. So we have today Dr. Fadhullah Suhaimi, Director from the NKEA, CCI, and also Business Services of PEMANDU. Dr. Fadhullah is involved in the entry point projects, including the targets that have been set under the NKEA. He will be able to provide an overview in terms of what digital lifestyle in relation to the CCI and the wider NKEA economic transformation program. I would like to welcome.
Thanks, Dato. Try to make it short. I do after the afternoon shift is never good for everybody. Okay. Now, I think you've heard from my colleague just now, Farisan, talking about the financial services. Underpinning everything that we do, by and large, would be actually ICT. So when the government embarked on the economic transformation program, one of the key things that was noted was that ICT would play a very pervasive role in all. So of the 11 focus areas, in total, roughly about 67% of the EPPs would have an ICT involvement, be it directly or indirectly. That's a lot. Okay, out of 133 entry point projects, we actually have 67% that we actually have, ICT being involved, even for projects that involve the agriculture sector. Now, what I'm going to share with you would be pretty much within the sphere of one of the focus areas called the communications content infrastructure. And to a certain extent, I also share a little bit of what's been done in the business services sector, largely within the context of an ICT. For the past 10 years or so, the country and the industry at large had been focusing largely on infrastructure of ICT. I remember when in the mid-90s, we were all struggling going to the internet using narrowband. Okay? We were cursing, getting the narrowband, because many a times you could actually go to the kitchen and make a cup of coffee and you still haven't downloaded your web page. Okay, remember the good old days. Okay? And today, if it's delayed by 2 seconds, we still curse because we want it instantaneously. Okay, so that's human nature. So what has happened is that over the last 10 years, we've got a good amount of investment done into infrastructure, but everybody kept asking, great, you have all this infrastructure, what's going to run on that? Okay. And for a country like Malaysia, where we speak many different languages, Malay, Chinese, Indian, and I think now people have begun to speak Korean, simply because you like to watch Korean K-pop. Okay. And most of the time the traffic goes out of the country. Okay, 90% of internet traffic goes out of the country. So what's in it for us? You can't go on, spending money like that because it's just too costly for everybody. So hence, when we did the lab, the industry players said we need to try and build up the local content availability. Okay, so hence, we then looked at how do we develop a digital lifestyle kind of play to serve people for tomorrow. How do we then, go into strategic areas to start building consumption for local content, and not forgetting to still continue to build the infrastructure, because what's good today may not be good tomorrow. Okay? I mean, highways is a good example. 2-lane highway was great 15 years ago. My friend, when we go back to Kampong, we were still using the old highway, single road. We had the Seremban highway, great, but today Seremban highway ain't so great after all, even with 3 lanes. Okay, so we just need to continue building more infrastructure. Likewise for the internet, same story. So we've got the high-speed broadband investment by Telecommunications on a public-private partnership with the government, near completion. Close to 1.3 million premises will be passed come December this year. They're probably about 1.15 million now. And I think the uptake is also pretty impressive. They've got close to about 400,000 subs within a span of about 18 months. Okay, that's very promising, meaning there's a lot of demand there. So in terms of digital lifestyle, when we say how do we serve people for tomorrow, how do we start getting things on board? Let's take example, working. All of us today carry this gizmo called BlackBerry, or some like to use the Samsung tablet. The more high-tech guy says, let's use the iPad. Whatever that you have, what is that? You are actually doing work on the move. Okay? You think it's God sent, but it's not God sent, it's hell sent. Okay? Because it bugs you right in the middle of the night. Okay? For those of you who travel, trust me, 4 a.m. in London and you get called from Malaysia. So people want to work from home more and more. Office space is too costly to reduce that. So we have this one of the entry point project called Connecting One Malaysia, meaning people to machine, machine to machine, and people to people. All right. So we have the investment by companies to create video conferencing services to be deployed for those who need it. We also have applications that allow movement of goods to be made much faster using RFID. Okay, so if you have the goods going through containers, what could take 3 hours can be reduced down to only an hour. Okay, so custom officers love this because they don't have to wait in the hot sun for the trucks to roll by. Now, that's an application that can be used in many ways. The other one that we looked at was actually schools and healthcare. All of us who have at some point in our lifetime kids who go to school, we will certainly fall ill. Okay? And many of the things that we do behind the services would require ICT. So you probably have read the one with Sari, where we're getting schools connected to broadband, having connection to a virtual learning environment, so that kids today could now learn stuff via the net. Okay, of course, one was also worried about online security, and hence the virtual learning environment provides a means to create a managed environment for kids to study, to create, and to share. Okay, and the other bit is in healthcare is trying to get connection to all the hospitals, so that when the healthcare reform that's been talked about by the government in trying to create the new healthcare financing model kicks in, data could be moved a lot more freely, as patients do not only go to a particular health facility. So where are we today since the day we started the Economic Transformation Program, when PM launched it on the 25th of October 2010? For last year, broadband penetration closed at 62.3% of households. Not too shabby, considering that at the end of 2009, we were about 17% of them, right? I remember that Dato and I, we used to get busted by the minister asking, where's the penetration? Where's the penetration? Okay, he survived better than me, I guess. And today we also see a lot more projects being rolled out. Example, in infrastructure space, data centers. Okay, when in 2010 we had about 500,000 lettable DC space, and today we have an additional of 250,000 square